Hey y'all, I'm Wilson. Welcome to my little shop here. I'm gonna try something a little different today. Usually I like to be working on stuff, building projects and stuff like that while I'm talking to y'all. It's a lot easier for me. But right now I've got a little layout over there. There's some basic kitchen cabinets. I got side view of a base cabinet and a wall cabinet laid out right there. And I'm going to go over basic kitchen cabinet measurements. We're going to have a little cabinet class. So y'all bear with me. Y'all bear with me because I am not really good at public speaking. I'm not good at that. I don't like preparing a lot to do these videos. I've just been having fun getting on the videos, building stuff and going with that. But I've had a lot of questions about cabinets and measurements and dados and everything. So I want to put that out there too. I want to help people out that want to do their own thing, you know, the DIYers, the beginners. I want to try to help y'all out too because I've been doing this for 30-something years. So it's probably about the only thing I know how to do in the world, but I can build some cabinets. But anyway, this is what we got right here. I got the layout right here. I did this layout in Sharpie. A layout is a great thing to do if you're a beginner. You're not sure what it is exactly that you want. You want to get all your measurements. It's hard to transfer from paper into what you want. Do a layout, full scale layout. I'll take a piece of plywood like this. This is 1/4 inch plywood. I use 1/4 inch for the backs of my cabinets. I use pre-finished, so the other side of this is finished. This is raw. This is raw wood right here. There's no finish on it, so I use that for my layout because that's the back side, never going to be seen. I can still use the plywood. And like I say, I did this layout in Sharpie. If you're doing a layout that you want to get measurements off of, do it in a number 2 pencil. Make sure it's good and sharp. You want that good fine point so you can get your measurements as accurate as possible. Now I'm fixing to put y'all up on my little camera stand. And like I say, y'all bear with me. Y'all bear with me. I'm going to try to show you a little bit here. You know, the way it works in cabinet shops, I've taught a bunch of people a bunch of stuff in cabinet shops. The way it works in cabinet shops, we teach you a little bit at a time. You can't teach somebody the whole thing, the whole 9 yards in one go. You learn a little bit here, you learn a little bit there, and you just learn as you go. So that's basically how I'm going to end up doing y'all. I'm going to give y'all a little bit in this video, and another video we might touch on something else. But every little bit you get adds up, and before you know it, you'll be building cabinets on your own without even having to do a layout. Anyway, let me get over here. I'm going to show y'all what I got. Like I say, this is the side view. I've got my cabinet. I even drew in my drawer box. You can go as in-depth as you need to with your layouts if you're doing it. I drew in the drawer box so you can see how far it comes to the back. I drew in this is a 22-inch drawer box. If you're using undermount tracks, usually your drawer box needs to be 21 inches. But this is 22, which works with side mount tracks. There's different measurements for different things. Y'all will learn that as you go along. But this is what we got. We've got this base cabinet to right here, and then I drew in the countertop too. My base cabinet, I make 35 1/4. Let me find my Sharpie here. See, I told you all I got on here all unprepared. Didn't even have my Sharpie. But anyway, this is a base cabinet. Base cabinet stops right here. Countertop's on top of it. Now I drew in what would represent a granite countertop, which is normally 1.25 inches thick. You got 2 thicknesses on your granite countertops or your stone countertops normally. What they call 2 centimeter, what they call 3 centimeter. 2 centimeters right at 3/4. 3 centimeter is roughly 1.25 inches, 1 3/16, something like that. When it's all said and done, you get it on the cabinet. Now, back in the day, before everybody started with the stone, everybody had a 3/4 thick countertop pretty much no matter what you had. Sometimes the Corian was even down to 5/8 thick. But we had 2 measurements on base cabinets that was pretty standard. You would have a lot of the factory cabinets or the frameless cabinets, they would make those at 34 and a half. They would make them 34 and a half, then they put a 3/4 subtop, or they strip it out with 3/4 and then put a 3/4 top on that to bring it all up to 36 inches. That should be the standard height of a kitchen countertop, up to 36 inches. Now, for me, I do a lot of face frame cabinets, and mostly face frame cabinets around here. We make those 35 1/4 tall. So you had a 35 1/4 tall cabinet, you had a 3/4 top, you did not need to use a subtop. You had a 3/4 top, so that made a 36-inch tall cabinet. But now we're doing a lot of granite, and instead of 3/4, we're ended up with a lot of the 1 1/4 or 1 3/16 thick granite. But we still keep the same measurements. You still have the people do 34 and a half with that thickness of top. By the time you end up all said and done, and it ends up being 35 3/4. Not a big deal. It's 1/4 inch less than 36. Not a big deal at all. For us to make our cabinets at 35 1/4, when you put this 1 1/4 top on there, you get 36 and a half. Still not bad at all, but you kind of specify. You need to specify when you're at the house with the customer. If you're a professional, you specify. You show them, exactly where that countertop's going to come to be. Some people might want it a little bit lower. Some people might want it taller. I've done it both ways. Some short people wanted them shorter. I've done that. Tall people wanted them a little taller. I've done that. You have to let the customer know, though, that if they go to resell the house, that's going to shrink their market. If they got their cabinets taller, the only people going to want to buy your house are taller people. So it's better to keep them all standard height, unless you're planning on keeping that house forever, and then you can do whatever the hell you want to with it. Anyway, mine, I do frameless cabinets, like I said. I'm going to try to keep wandering off the point here. So to right here up under that, that's 35 1/4 to the floor, to the bottom of the countertop. That gives me, I have 4 inches of exposed toe kick. I've got a 2-inch bottom rail. Normally when I do face frame cabinets, normally I do a 2-inch face frame. It depends on what the customer wants. If you want to get the doors and all a little closer together, I'll do an 1 1/2 face frame. I've done 1 3/4 face frame. You got to be flexible and satisfy what your customer wants. But anyway, this is what I normally do. So that would be a 2-inch bottom rail, 2-inch middle rail, 2-inch top rail. So I can take my measurement right there, which between there, my opening is going to be 20 1/4 tall. My opening here is going to be 5 inches tall. My toe kick from the bottom of the cabinet to the floor, I've got 4 inches. Then my bottom, I know y'all probably can't see that far. I'll bring y'all over here when I'm all done with this. But my bottom, I drop down 1/4 inch from the top of the bottom rail. And then I've got a support board behind my toe kick skin that goes up to the bottom. So that ends up being 5 1/4. 1/2 inch is 5 3/4. Another 1/4 is 6 inches to the top of my bottom rail. If I don't fall over here, we're doing good. All right, then I've got 20 1/4 opening for my door. My doors, I do a 1/2 inch overlay, so that makes my door 21 1/4. I've got a 5 inch opening for my drawer, 1/2 inch overlay. I've got a 6 inch drawer front. And I've got, you can see right here, I've got these with the X's. You probably figured out this with the X here is the bottom. This with the X here is a toe kick, the support board. This right here is a cleat. I normally do my cleats from front to back, 3/4, 2 1/2 inch cleat from front to back to glue the countertop onto. So that would be that. And I have a 3/4 by 2 1/2 inch hanger rail that runs the length of the inside of the cabinet. You can do a face layout if you need to see all that. But that's what we've got. This right here, that's just a little half shelf. Most base cabinets that I have a door on, I'll do a half shelf in the back. And if you're doing drawers, all you got to do is put your 2-inch rail in the center, equal it up, and that's what you got. On this, it would end up being 9 1/8, 9 1/8 if I was doing drawers. All right, we've got that. That's to the top, to the bottom of your countertop. All right, you add your countertop. It depends on the thickness. 1.25 inch countertop, which is normal stone measurement, unless you get the 2 centimeter. That's going to put you at 36 1/2 from the floor if you don't have to do any kind of shimming to level it up. Then you got your wall cabinet. From your wall cabinet to here, your standard measurement to the bottom of the wall cabinet is 54 inches from the floor. My cabinets, what I do, I come 54 1/2. 54 1/2 from the floor, and that gives me, from the top of the countertop to the bottom, that gives me 18 inches. It was 54, and then you had the 3/4 top, so no matter what, you had 36 here, and so at 54 you had 18, but now that we're getting a thicker top, I've raised mine up a 1/2 inch so we get that full 18. You need that full 18 so that your appliances, no matter what kind of countertop appliances you've got, they are made to fit within that 18, unless you have something just completely oddball. Most countertop appliances are made to fit in an 18-inch area. All right. Now, I didn't go over this either, but your base cabinets from the wall out, 24 inches. 24 inches to the front of the face frame. Then your countertop, whatever the granite guys do with the overhang. Normally, the overhang is 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. But that's on the countertop, guys. If you're building a cabinet, base cabinets are standard 24 inches deep. And deep, when we say deep, we mean from the wall out, 24 inches. All right, back up to the wall cabinets. Your wall cabinets are 12 inches deep. And you see, I got the side view of this too. Your face frame right there, your bottom rail, your top rail. I've even got the crown molding laid out on it. Now, if you look, if you can see, I don't know if you can see, I'll bring you back over here in a minute if you can't see this. But I've got my crown molding. My crown molding is a 1/2 inch above that door. I like to have my crown molding on an overlay job. I like to have my crown molding a little bit higher than that off the door, because when you stand at it right here and you look up, the door blocks the bottom of that profile and it looks busy, it looks congested. So if you raise it just a little bit, that's one thing a layout will help you do. If you know what your crown molding is and what it beds at, you can do your measurements on it and adjust your top rail to where your door doesn't come so close to it. I was just doing a layout with what I had to show you just the basics. But that's what we've got here. I've got the adjustable shelves drawn in there, 1/4 inch back. My bottom, it does the same thing. I use pre-finished for all my insides, so when I come up to my rails, I leave a 1/4 inch. So my bottom rail is 2 inches. To the top of my bottom is 1.75 inches. That leaves a 1/4 inch lip on the inside of the cabinet. And that's because my inside is already pre-finished and I don't want to have to sand between you don't want to have to sand the top of the bottom rail to sand it flush with this piece of plywood, because that defeats the purpose of it being pre-finished. Alright. Now as far as everything else goes, I've got this is an 8-foot sheet of plywood. For 8 foot worth of cabinets, normally you have 35 1/4 base cabinet, you have a 42-inch wall cabinet. But like I said, I've went to go in 54 1/2. At 54 1/2 to do an 8-foot cabinet, it makes this to be a 41.5 tall wall cabinet. But if you're doing a kitchen, you get that 18 inches, whatever you need to make that wall cabinet, no matter how tall you make it from there, you can do whatever you need to do, but you need that 18 inches between the countertop and the wall cabinet. And I have probably run my mouth enough to confuse everybody just really, real good if you don't know what you're doing. Like I say, y'all, I like doing the videos, but I'm doing so much else as far as work. I don't have a whole lot of time to sit down and prepare, and I don't like doing all that preparation. I just like to get on here and run my damn mouth. But that's what we've got right there. Base cabinet, 35.25. That's where I was telling you we've got a 4-inch toe kick. That's my backer board, my support board, and I use a 1/4-inch toe kick skin, so that's what that front piece is. Now on the back, I don't have anything drawn. If the base cabinet gets too long, I like to put a sleeper that runs from front to back to help give it a little extra support. A lot of times where the back, where the ends are dadoed, the bottom's dadoed into the ends, I like to put a little triangle block on the back to keep the end from breaking. That's something I'll probably show y'all later on. I'll have a cabinet to build here shortly, and I'll be probably doing that on it to show y'all. That's the base cabinet. That's our wall cabinet right there. Like I say, I don't know if y'all can see that, but if you can see how close the door is to that. I like to give it a little more, because you can see if you're looking at it from this angle, and that's hard for y'all to see, but if you're looking at it from that angle, you don't want to block the bottom detail on your trim with the door. I'm going to set y'all back up here for a minute. I'm going to show y'all, this is what I like about doing a layout, a full-size layout, something like this. Sometimes I will even, if I have a real particular customer, sometimes if their wall is not painted yet, if it's just sheetrock, I might do a little pencil drawing on their wall like this just to show them. You know, you can show them, look, you'll be standing here, you can reach here, and you can show them all how everything works if you do that layout. It helps out a lot with really picky customers that can't, you have a lot of them that can't see. They can't see what's going on. They know what they want, but they can't picture it quite. So you have to give them that picture. Anyway, I am running my damn mouth, just rambling on. But that is it. That is cabinet class for today. Like I say, we'll touch on more. I'm going to keep on doing the videos. I'm going to try to do more videos. I kind of like doing them, but it's like I say, I don't like doing a whole lot of prep work for them. I just like to get on here and run my damn mouth. But I sure do appreciate y'all watching. And there's 455 of y'all that have subscribed, and I really appreciate y'all. I'm trying to get up to 500 subscribers here. If I hit 500, I think I'm going to branch out and put my videos on Facebook and go a little further with it. Just trying to see what I can do, you know. Anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a good one, and I will see you on the next one.